Hey guys, and welcome back to another Classic gold making video. In this one, I'm going to be showing you the top 10 best gold farms in Classic. Before we get into it, if you have not already checked out my Classic gold making guide and also my Classic flipping guide, these are both linked down below in the description box. Also, there's another website where all the best gold makers are making guides, which is called Gold Capped, and it is also linked down below in the description box if you want to go ahead and check that out. Now let's get right into this. So you want to make gold in Classic. In this video, I'm going to show you the top 10 gold farms. So starting off, we have the volatile water farm. So this is a volatile farm, and what you want to have is a potion of treasure finding. This will give you tiny treasure chests. This will increase the amount of gold you make by a lot. It's really important that you remember to bring your potion of treasure finding. This is the loot that you can get from the tiny treasure chests. So we're going to head over to Twilight Highlands, to this location right here on the river. We're going to be farming all of the water elementals at this location. So let's get started. Now I would recommend being at least level 83 plus before coming here and doing this farm. Make sure you use your potion of treasure finding and then get to grinding. As you can see, these are the mobs that we're going to be farming, and there is a bunch of these spread out around this location. You will be making the gold from the volatile water, the materials that you get from the tiny treasure chests, and you also have a chance of getting a bunch of different BOEs. So you can actually even get lucky enough to get purple BOEs and blue BOEs that sell for a lot. With the tiny treasure chests, you just click on them to open them, and it will give you a whole heap of different Cata materials. Now all of these materials and the volatile water sell extremely quick on the auction house. So let's move on to the next farm. The next farm is going to be the volatile air farm. This is another volatile farm that works pretty much the same way. What you're going to do is you're going to be farming mobs for the volatile air. Make sure that you use the potion of treasure finding. This will allow you once again to get the tiny treasure chests, which then you can open for a wide range of different Cata materials. So this farm is a little bit different. The mobs are a little bit more spread out. So we're going to be over in Oldham at this location right here. Now I would recommend having flying to do this location and this farm, because you do have to move a little bit in between mobs. So first of all, make sure you use your potion of treasure finding, and these are the mobs that we're going to be farming. What you want to do is you want to kill one, and then you want to move on to the next one. A good way to do this farm is to go around in a circle. By the time you get back to the start of the circle, the mobs will have already started to respawn. This way you don't have much downtime waiting for mobs to respawn. Let's move on to the next farm. So the next farm is another volatile farm. This is the volatile fire farm. Once again, you want to make sure that you're using a potion of treasure finding so you can get your hands on the tiny treasure chests. These are really important with the volatile farms. It really does increase the amount of gold that you make when doing these farms. So here are the materials from the tiny treasure chests, and where we're going to be doing this farm is over in Twilight Highlands at this location right here. Now there is a lot of these mobs spread out very closely to one another. So what you want to do, first of all, is obviously use your potion of treasure finding. This will last for 1 hour. So you have 1 hour to grind out as many of these mobs as you can. Once again, you're going to make all the gold from the volatile fire, from the tiny treasure chest loot, and then also you have a chance at getting all the different BOEs from these mobs. These mobs are level 84, so I would recommend only coming here once you are level 85 and you have a decent amount of gear. Moving on though to the next farm, the final volatile farm that is worth showing in this top 10 video is the volatile earth. So just like the other volatile farms, this is pretty much the same deal. You want to make sure that you have your potion of treasure finding, which is going to last for 1 hour and allow you to get the tiny treasure chest. Once again, this is very important for the majority of the Cata gold farms to really increase the amount of gold that you make from doing them. Here is the loot once again that you get from the tiny treasure chest. So let's get into the volatile earth farm. So first of all, what you want to do is you want to head over to Twilight Highlands to this location right here. This is where you're going to find the mobs that will drop the volatile earth. And this is the best location to farm volatile earth. Make sure you use your potion of treasure finding and then get to farming. So what I like to do right here is basically do a circle around this location, and you want to farm all the mobs. So these are the actual mobs that drop the volatile earth. The humanoids around them do not drop the volatile earth, but a majority of the time you're going to have to pull a few of them, which is okay because you can get amber silk cloth from them, and then also you can have a chance at getting your tiny treasure chests from them mobs too, and some BOEs. So they are really worth farming here as well. This is a really good farm, and this would be the final volatile farm that is worth doing at the moment. Next up, we have the amber silk cloth farm. So I'd recommend having tailoring, which will increase the amount of cloth you get from these farms. Also make sure you're using your potion of treasure finding. So this farm is an AoE farm, and there's big groups of mobs that are fighting NPCs in Deep Home at this location right here. So I would recommend having a class that has some nice AoE, and it's going to really increase the amount of gold that you get from doing this farming location. So first of all, once again, use your potion of treasure finding. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be farming these big groups of mobs, AoEing them down, looting them up, getting a bunch of amber silk cloth, and also a bunch of tiny treasure chests. You also have a chance of getting BOEs from these guys, which can add up, and if you get lucky enough to get a really good BOE, this can sell for a lot of gold. So what you want to do once you're done is open up all your tiny treasure chests, and this is how you're going to make a lot of really good gold. Next farm is a hyperspawn, and probably the best amber silk cloth farm in Cata. So once again, make sure you're using your potion of treasure finding. This is going to allow you to get all the different materials from the tiny treasure chests. When doing this farm, you are going to be over in Deep Home at this location right here. I would recommend playing on a class that has a tank specialization, because there is going to be a lot of mobs and they respawn very, very quickly. And if you have a class that can't stay up and keep up with all the damage, then it's going to be very hard. So I would recommend doing this on preferably a class with a tank specialization, because when I say this, and I really mean this, there is a lot of mobs and they respawn very, very, very quickly. So you do need to have some decent gear to stay alive when doing this farm. But if you can, and you can do this farm properly, it is one of the best farms in the game at the moment, and is the best hyperspawn and the best tiny treasure chest farm by far. Moving on to another farm. Now this farm is a little bit different. It's a amber silk cloth farm once again, where you can also get BOEs, and your potion of treasure finding will be getting you your tiny treasure chest. So this farming location, it isn't the best farm in the whole game, but a good thing about this farm is that there is going to be pretty much no competition here. So if you can't find a spot for all the different farms that I'm showing in this video, this is a good spot to come to where you can have the whole farm to yourself. You're going to be making gold from the tiny treasure chests, the amber silk cloth, and the BOEs. So where the farm is located is over in Twilight Highlands at this spot right here. Now at this location, there is a bunch of NPCs fighting monsters, and this will actually help you kill the mobs a lot quicker, especially if you don't have too much gear. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be farming all of the different mobs around this location. Once you've killed them all where the NPCs are, you go inside a bit, let them respawn where the NPCs are helping you, and go back and forth from there. Moving on to a different farm. So this actually isn't a Cata farm. This is from TBC. We're going to be farming for the damp scale basilisk eyes. Now you can also have skinning, and you can also skin them for not hide leather and crystallized infused leather. Where we're going to be doing this farm is in Terracar Forest at this location right here along the river. You're going to be farming the eyes because people hand them in for reputation. And now that we can sell transmogs with the reputation, they can actually learn recipes that will teach them how to craft transmog pieces. So a lot of people are buying these straight off the auction house, these eyes, and going ahead and getting the reputation with them. So this is a really, really good farm at the moment. The next farming method is to be going and farming old dungeons and old farming locations for transmogs. Transmogs is a really, really good market, especially because we're so early on into Cata. Not many people yet have collected all the transmogs that they want, so a lot of people are buying these and they sell very, very quickly up in the auction house. What I'd recommend doing to farm transmog at the moment is to just run old dungeons that you can solo yourself, run and clear the full dungeon, loot up all of the items. You're going to get a bunch of different materials also, which can sell on the auction house, but the things that you're going to be after are mainly the transmogs, and these are selling extremely well. Like, if you're used to farming transmogs on retail, they do take a long time to sell, but over here on Cataclysm Classic, they're selling very, very quickly, and for some of them you can get some really, really good prices. So I'd say farming transmogs is getting slept on by a lot of the gold makers at the moment, and not many people are doing it, but it's actually a really good way to make a lot of gold. And you also will make some steady gold from all the different materials like the cloths and things like that you're going to loot along the way while you're farming transmogs. Moving on to the final farm, and one of the best steady gold farms in the game at the moment is a skinning farm for the savage leather. You get a few other things when doing this farm, like your pristine hide. Now, what I'd recommend doing is having a worgen. If you don't, it doesn't matter. It will just increase how quickly you skin the mobs. And what we're going to be doing is also using the potion of treasure finding, because we're going to be farming mobs in a Cata zone. So this is to get your hands on the tiny treasure chest, just for a little bit more of extra steady gold from these Cata materials. So where we're going to be doing this farm is over in Oldham, right down in the bottom here. And we're going to be farming the baby crocs. So a lot of people probably know this farm because it is one of the best steady gold farms that you can be doing. You are going to need skinning to do this farm, but it is definitely worth even leveling up skinning just to do this farm. It is really, really good farm, and you can make a lot of steady gold from this, and all the items sell very, very quickly up on the auction house and are all in very, very high demand. So you want to kill the baby crocs by clicking or running over the eggs, and then you want to skin them, and then you want to rinse and repeat. However, that was it for the video. If you enjoyed, hit the thumbs up button, and if you'd like to learn more about making gold in all versions of the game, you can check out Goldcapped. You can also check out my Cata Classic gold making guide, which will also be linked down below in the description box. It goes over everything you need to know about making gold in Cata Classic. And then also, if you're into flipping or interested, you can check out my Cata flipping guide, which will be linked down below in the description also. This will teach you everything you need to know about flipping in Cata.